多くのものが少しずつ、たとえそれが微力であろうと、どれか一本ほずれていても、この結果は生じ得なかったと。
I gotta say, the notion of the hero giving everything they've got to just reach their goal has always appealed to me. It's the reason why the intro always gives me goosebumps.
夢半ばなんだよ。締め落とす。
So clever to have these villains displayed as such, truly being more than simple villains. Each has their own reason for doing the bad things that they're doing.
現代のシーラカンス、洋型の人間を差別し暴行に勤しむクソ野郎ども。
用が済んだら出ていくよ。長居されたくなきゃ邪魔するな。
Genuinely shocked at how well timed the previous win was, because right away they're fighting other villains whom they have an issue with. I can't believe that timing. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and comment while you're here. Channel is going through another rough patch, but things are looking up with your help. I'd also ask that you maybe check out my linked Patreon. For $4 a month, you can vote in all the anime I cover. There's a vote open all the time, and the money directly helps to keep this channel going. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope very much that you can help me out.
律儀に仲間集めに勤しんでんのは俺だけか。
It's very impressive how this is a static background and yet manages to look hand-drawn.
前時代的価値観の残る田舎でトカゲ野郎と蔑まれ育ってきた。俺の心にはずっと何もなかった。
Not only was my timing insanely good with win number 113, but now we get a much welcome bit of backstory on another villain, one that has his own very unique reason for being there, and also props for mentioning Stain often so he never gets forgotten about as the story keeps progressing.
俺は初めて世の中が窮屈なんだと知った。いても立ってもいられなかった。
Good symbolism there, considering how he was treated by his fellow man back then.
連合が拘束から逃れた。
I already winned Lemillion and his voice actor back in the first half, but just wanted to shout him out again. I played an awesome game called AI The Somnium Files, and he voices the main character and sounds so different. Plus, he's absolutely hilarious in it. Great murder mystery game, highly recommend it, and it's even more amazing sequel.
やはり個性で服を拘束してきた。
We'll avoid showing it as it's nasty. He removes chunks from himself in order to remain unbound, but it all goes to show just how incredibly serious they take their own goals. Every time you want to give us some villain backstory, I'm so here for it.
Gentlemen!
Those effects while in the air though! Still sticking with frequent changes to the scenery, showing us different heroes fighting in different areas.
オールマイトの資料にあった4代目の個性危機感知。
Oh my god, he's starting to use another of the quirks! I really love it! I swear he's the best character introduced in a long time!
ただ思い出してくれたらと。
What an insanely great build-up to that moment, the haunting music, the visuals as his prior family life burned away, and then suddenly his eyes open. Wow!
ならば頑張ろう。頑張ろうな、トムラ。
Such a twist! Very glad it wasn't something painfully simple either. Oh, you put the mask on, he's back awake. This makes far more sense and further raises the stakes.
なんだ
Not running on the spot!
敗北の代償は潔く差し出そう。すべては僕のために。
I'll be honest, this is exactly the kind of event I was hoping for. I enjoy Tamura as a villain, but All for One is still on another level, even just by appearance and aura. It's good that he's still involved in this part of the story. Two wins here. Firstly, that voice acting from Eren was insanely good. He's one of the best out there for a reason. Secondly, it was so good to see everyone fighting against All for One in that moment. Just brought me right back to when All Might and everyone else fought him in Season 3. He's so powerful! His voice actor has been absolutely on point as well this episode.
まだ来るのか。しつこさだけはオールマイトに匹敵するね。お前は黙ってろ、オールフォーマン！
Oh my goodness, this mad lad flipping through the air using Black Whip out of his mouth like that! Anything to stop the escape, I'm losing it, boys and girls!
お前の顔が助けを求めたように見えた。
For this moment, they can take 2 max wins, from using that music to his voice acting on display, and then bringing it full circle to Midoriya actually wanting to rescue Tamura in this moment, because he looked like he needed help is just incredible. It says so much about both of them, but especially Midoriya. It shows how he's a true hero through and through. If this arc excelled at one thing, it was making permanent things which, before now, had sometimes not been subject to any kind of change. They've done it a few times over the seasons, don't get me wrong, but this arc contained a great many hero and villain demises, and plenty of physical harm to all parties that survived going forwards.
僕はこの一連の事件の全貌を知った。
It is so damn creative to come up with this twist in the story and how it now impacts on the world of heroes at large, and of course the legacy left behind by All Might after all those years of peace. Even something simple like this. Originally this was absolutely getting 1 win, but then, oh man, the music kicked in. I know I've heard that music before as well, I think on an older OP in this anime. So yeah, fantastic song, perfect choice, and then the visuals are so doom and gloom, apt for the arc, and then halfway through they explode with gorgeous animation. Easy 2 max wins.
ですが、今回の提案は白紙に戻させていただきます。
Take a win for being genuinely unexpected.
ついにうちの製品を無視できなくなったかと2つの顔でぬか喜びした。
会長の死亡により公安の指揮系統が混乱する中。
Perhaps even more unexpected is that following this, even though it's not the real deal, he is still able to fight back. It's pretty neck and neck. A well thought out and executed recap done from the perspective of Midoriya, announcing all of the events which he was directly involved in and those which he didn't know about until now as he reads the reports from that day. This is a clever way of doing it, and anime in general seems to be getting better at doing more creative recaps.
蛇空病院跡地に残された連合が使用したと思われる機材の回収。
I can also appreciate the realism in going over the actions taken after the fact, such as police arrests, transportation of League members into custody, equipment being seized at the hospital, and much more.
千枚同士社会の安寧のためなら犬でも結構
In that same vein, it's also great to not skip to the end, instead showing the remaining villains being taken down and into custody around the villa.
今は人命優先だ救急車いや避難所だ現場に避難所を増設させろ
In line with the previously mentioned realism, we get to witness how up against it the heroes are in the aftermath of the destruction, with more being shown than in any previous season.
分かった
8のマンションの5階にも
任せろ
Take one here for the efforts being shown by students who aren't exactly always at the forefront of the anime's battles and can more earn their place through the rescue side of operations, which does a lot to legitimize their position in Class A, really.
これはもうダメでしょ。転職先探さなきゃ。
Loving the super realistic moment as well, as some heroes, perhaps who shouldn't have been one in the first place, mentally tap out when things just get to be too much, like here. Which also brings in Stain's point from 4 seasons back, where he talked about people being heroes who weren't really heroes, but even that aside, it's realistic.
先生明大先生
That's absolutely awful and totally unexpected, but perfectly lends itself to win number 335 because, as painful as it is, this arc has taken out many heroes, worst of all her, and I didn't see it coming.
休む暇など与えないここからずっと僕のターンだ
As horrible as this sounds, it's also incredibly hype that it's not everything back to normal. Midoriya, back to school with you. It's continuing on. This is likely the best My Hero Academia arc friggin' ever.
僕の本体を解き放つんだ。
Oh my goodness, and then that ending! He might finally be broken out of jail, this is nuts! Very nice and simple ED with a decent song and nice visuals, especially as it's such a throwback to the first season. Truly shocked me when I saw how far things have come since all that time ago.
対個性最高警備特殊拘置所通称タルタロス
Take one for the start of the episode, giving precious new details on Tartarus and how it operates.
ヒーローの被害も甚大なんだろう。エンデワーを含む145人が入院。兄貴。
Oh my word. Can you seriously get much more hyped and nervous than this?
応答しろブリアレオスギュゲス
ブリアレオスがやられた。セキュリティレッドだ。
I didn't think it could get any more hyped and nervous, and then All for Tomura turned up and did this? What an insane way to start the episode!
やめとけ、記録に残る。新旧島は解体されるだろうが、分派した連中にわざわざ餌を与えることはない。
What a wonderful place to inject some lore, just casually going over how they're monitored, how some consider what they do to be abuse, and more.
01から順に分離および降下開始。
対象の生死は問わず繰り返す全火器の使用を許可
They could have so easily skipped the prison's main defenses, merely having him stroll on in, and instead we get the drones, a physical disconnection of the bridge to the mainland, and even more!
やることをやってからね。
俺の体を返せ。
Not only is it clever to show him having woken up and fighting against the control of his body, but the way they do it is fantastic, showing both sides of his face like this.
君は大切な大切な次の僕さ。
Ah, that reveal, bruh! I freaking knew all of this time there was no way he was helping him so much just because he wanted to do so. I knew there had to be more to it. Oh, this anime is so good! This season is so good! Seriously, whoever animated that and chose the music deserves raises. That is intense.
他のヴィランたちも手駒に欲しい。まったくタルタロス。仮に体が完成していたとしても、外からの攻略は難しかっただろう。
It is the height of brilliance that he wasn't able to walk in and complete his mission. So often in anime, I'm disappointed by something being so hyped, and yet the main villain, perhaps due to lazy or rushed writing, merely walks in and achieves their goal. Oh, I say, that's it. Here though, not the case. He's struggling, and he stated he'd have struggled regardless of the state of Tamura's body. Take 2 max wins for that.
電気系統がやられた。全監視システムがダウン。
What a way of doing that scene.
電源15傾向制圧部隊の援護。教えろよ。楽園の入り口はどこだ。
Now they're even bringing back older villains into the fold. It's too good, it needs to be stopped.
たく世も末だね。
Unexpected escaping prison kawaii! Oh my god, I didn't think the Overhaul was still alive! I'm so genuinely shocked at that! Take a win!
これは僕が最高の魔王になるまでの物語だ。
I cannot even properly express just how insanely awesome I think this entire arc has been to date. The whole season has been nothing but a banger, and as a side note, so happy to see such a high score on my anime list. The highest of any My Hero Academia season thus far. Extremely well deserved respect and love from the fans. Making the story even more impactful than it already was by heavily implying that the goal is to go back to the days before All Might, where villains almost were able to freely operate by breaking out all of these criminals.
じゃあもう壊そう。一旦全部。
誰だよ。俺がついていくのは死柄木弔だ。
Super enjoying the non-one-dimensional villains in this. They've been building this for years, and so it's highly praiseworthy to me.
デク。
看護師さんに伝えてくる。
頼む。デクと轟は。
Two wins here. Firstly, you could see the genuine concern in his eyes. Rarely ever see that from him from Midoriya and Todoroki, and the fact that he's still alive. Secondly, I just had to win him climbing all over Bakugo like this.
私に子供はいなかった。いなかったんだ、空彦。私に子供は。
Have a win for perhaps the first time, showing how hurt she was to have made that horrible decision years ago in order to fight evil and protect her family.
今は余計なことは考えず、治療に専念してください。
These two are still okay, especially Eraserhead after what he was forced to do.
大丈夫だかね。轟さんのこと私たちは見てましたもの。
It's a beautiful thing to show all of the students fully supporting one another.
あいつは俺だ。使わず一番になることで奴を完全否定する。あの日までの俺がこの身を焼いたんだ。
I'm so impressed by such a long form of character building. It's true, he's the same as Todoroki used to be, filled with hatred. He's come a huge way. What an amazing juggling act to build all of these many, many characters.
緑谷だけ一向に起きる気配がないって。
Like, he'll be okay, we know that, but it doesn't stop it hurting to see him like this. All Might by his side, Bakugo filled with genuine concern. Oh, what a scene!
大丈夫。なぜって私が来た。
Simply put, it's always such a pure joy of mine to see a prime All Might.
桟橋に行った。あ、俺ば売りに行ったか。
誰にも見られとらん。
嘘をつくな。人と関わるな。家を出るな。何もするな。
父も母もぶっ壊れてたからこうはならないとじっと耐えていた。
The highest of praise for even spending so much time on these newer characters and their stories from childhood? What helped to end up making them as heroes? What they went through? Even with such a massive cast as it is, he still finds the time to expand those who enter the story later on.
そんで捕まっちゃったってエンデバーに。
テレビの中にしかいなかったものがヒーローは実在した。
What a cracking backstory! Now making so much sense as to why he basically idolizes the man.
脳無から着想を得た仮死状態にする手術など私は受けなかった。
奴は遺体の鑑定も求めてきましたが本物ですから何事もなくパス。こうしてあなたの体は奴らの息のかかった施設で保存された。
Getting our first proper understanding of how Genis was seemingly taken out and yet survived. A great example to show how villains are now basically roaming the streets almost unchecked, a situation that's been getting steadily worse since All Might's decline and has now peaked.
ヒーローは世間から批判の的にされるや否や事務所畳んでとんずらこいちまった。
ヒーローへの不信が日に日に高ぶっていく。
Have another for more, basically lore, I guess, as we learn how police have had their hands full and heroes have straight up closed up shop and moved away. So essentially, civilians are now unprotected.
圭吾とあなたのお父さんのことを話してしまいました。
高見圭吾!
So many things being logically explained now. I had wondered about this for half a season.
だからブバイガーラはいいやつでした。人の役に立とうと必死だった。俺もそうありたい。まず俺の原点からエンデバーさんが困ってる。
I mean, that's just some of the best character writing I've seen in a long time. Even to go as far as praising his former enemy, saying he wants to be like him. It also wonderfully plays into a frequent win this video, talking about how wildly varied the villains are in this. Fantastic stuff.
噂の浸透は人々の抱く情勢不安の表れであり、溜まり続けたフラストレーションが度重なるヒーローたちの失態、凶悪なヴィランたちの脱獄を経て。
Imagine being so good at writing your story that you recall that at the end of season 4, this was starting to overflow as a big deal, the whole Nomu situation, and here he is mentioning it and how it panicked the public.
サポートアイテム
ヒーローに
Bringing in these support items more often to the story is as awesome to me as Black Clover's magical items, but even more so here since it largely follows the movies, especially the first.
対ヴィラン戦闘訓練を受けていない一般市民の武装戦闘は周辺一帯を巻き込み、さらなる被害を生んでいた。
An interesting point I hadn't considered much, but that the anime story has mentioned before now, that being how heroes keep damage to a minimum. But just look at what happens when civilians fight off one villain.
ナンバー9ヒーロー、鎧武者、引退表明。これに端を発し、今もヒーローを辞職する者が続出している。
Continuously expanding the story's arc into something solid and permanent. The demise of heroes and villains as stated, the escape of all for one and powerful villains, huge injuries to multiple important people, civilians defending their land, heroes retiring due to the stress and workload, everything is changing.
くしくもヒーローがふるいにかけられている。
It's literally him! He's back in the anime after all these seasons!
人々はその全ての責任をこの男一人の肩に乗せる。
息ができる。
Half the win is for him still being alive, and the other half is definitely for this incredibly solemn look on his face, just being completely genuinely sad in that moment for how things have turned out, no doubt.
かつてしてきたことが全部俺自身は生き延びてもヒーローとしてのエンデバーは死んだ。息子とは戦えない。
Oh man, to go from hating him alongside Shoto in Season 2 to gaining respect for him during his fight against the Nomus in Season 3, to witnessing him fight for peace, to strive to achieve what All Might had done, to piece his family back together again and slowly atone through Seasons 4 and 5, to see him like that now just makes me so sad for him. That's one heck of a character arc, and it got to me. That was the most unexpected joke of all time. Oh man, well played. I needed a laugh.
遅すぎたんだ。後悔が心がもう。
心が何？
レイ、なぜここに？
話をしに来たの。うちのこと。トウヤのこと。
2 wins for how they ended the episode and how that was handled. After the laugh, they made me proper tear up to follow up on win number 390 to see him in tears like this. Now just for the first time, full of apologies, true regret pouring out of him. It was a sight to see. Then the mother of his children comes along. What an ending! I'm shocked.
氷のような女だった。一応見合いという形をとってはいるが、花が好きか？
はい、とても綺麗。
It's a young endeavor! It's a young endeavor backstory!
一番辛いのはあなたじゃないし、あの子を見なかったのはあなただけじゃないから。
Never could I have imagined all that time ago when she was brought into the story that her character could end up being used in such an impressive fashion.
ともかく、トウヤ君にはなるべく個性を使わせないでください。自分の炎に焼かれて大怪我をしてしまいます。
I'm glad to see Dabi's backstory too, but the main win is because I like the realism aspect of doctors protecting kids from using some quirks, because it could physically hurt them or worse.
ふみちゃんにはわかんねえよ。女の子にはわかんねえんだ。先輩来たのに。
Oh my god, she's so adorable! At least here we witness a different side to a younger Endeavor, one that wanted his son to give up for his own safety, to give up on overtaking All Might one day, but for his own good. And then here is essentially where he went off the tracks for a good long time. His obsession with surpassing All Might, or for his kids to do so, highlighted nicely by the wrapped food she brings him, showing he's never home for dinner. He's always out working harder and harder, but unable to defeat All Might in any capacity. Who'd have seriously thought that in a season packed with battles and an arc overturning almost everything that came before it, that there'd be so much excellent character backgrounds being explored? What an incredible way of showing how warped he'd become, twisted by his father's obsession over the years, wanting to be noticed, wanting to achieve his father's goal, but being pushed away. Wow!
今後はショートを他の頃と一切近づけさせないことにする。ショート見るな。
He even found a way to turn this part of his story from being he wants to keep everyone away from Todoroki, to be cruel and constantly train him, to he wanted to protect him, first of all, after what his brother tried. Excellently displaying the path to becoming a villain before our very eyes. Some of the best reflections I've seen in anime in a good while.
やけど周囲から見られない箇所での訓練。
俺を作ってよかったって思うから。
なぜトウヤを止めなかったね。頼んだはずだ。
As hard as it is to watch as this part of their horrible story began, it's important to see that whilst obviously wrong, he had gone years without ever doing this. But it was when he saw his son had still been hurting himself daily with his flames that he finally broke with anger. It's clear neither of them could deal with this, and it's portrayed so well. It physically hurt to see a young Shoto crying whilst fighting in panic to protect his mother. Learning that it was more to do with the look in his eyes rather than literally the colour of them being like his father's, an important distinction.
なんと声をかけたらいいのかわからなかったんだ。
あれは熱かったな。ま、自業自得だよな。
Finally getting to see what actually happened, what caused him to fully turn away from his family, what made Endeavor truly believe he had perished.
責任はあなただけのものじゃない。心が砕けても私たちが立たせます。
What an incredible woman she is.
泣き終わったら立てよ。みんなでトウヤ兄を止めに行こう。
Oh man, what a character he himself has turned out to be too, completely reversing the path of Toya in the family, and he's come out the other end as a hero and a friend to others, a man who can say mum once again, in spite of what has happened. He's outstanding.
申し訳ありませんでした。
え、そういうつもりで出てきたんじゃないんで。
あの人たちに向き合えなかった。諦めて見限った。
ショート君、君はかっこいいな。
What a beautiful, thoughtful way by which to converge those two stories, comparing himself to how Shoto dealt with his life. I'm shocked.
風向きの悪さを察したヒーローたちが今も続々と辞職中。
ダビの語った轟家の話が本当だとしても、きっと今は違う。
ほら、俺らとご家族、少しは肩も軽くなって立って歩ける気しません？
Between the way that was done, going over the terrible state of the country, of heroes, civilians needing help, and then the music kicks in, the heroes in that room ready to stand together and help him walk again, got me proper teary-eyed, that one did, I won't lie.
One for all. 我々はそれの正体を知らなきゃいけません。
デク。
I'm proper nervous now as it never hit me until now that anyone else might find out about it.
大爆殺神ダイナマイト。無事か。無事に見えんのけ。
Using his full name too.
君は今先代たちと話しているんだね。
take a final win for an insanely good episode. All Might continues to be a pure blessing, and they set up the coming story and episode in general really, really well. Seriously, such an amazing story being told here, ladies and gents.
起きる前に話をしなきゃなんねえさ。
ごめんね。大変な時に。歴代の継承者たち。
Okay, so not only is this incredibly hype, naturally, but I don't think they could have done this in a more cool, mysterious way if they tried. That being the mangaka and then the studio. Bloody brilliant!
ワン・フォー・オール内にあった継承者たちの意識は輪郭を帯び、継承者同士でコミュニケーションを取れるようになった。
I'm so glad that it wasn't forgotten about that All Might clearly said in Season 2 that he had no idea what Midoriya was talking about after he was helped out during the tournament arc by a strange force.
私は4代目。なお、篠森日陰という。
I'm just gonna say, I think this is so clever, so well thought out, even more characters involved, more quirks of prior users to be used. Also though, hell yes, they found a good role for one of my favourite voice actors. Kira from JoJo's Diamond is Unbreakable, and the Wizard King from Black Clover, and of course, the original Griffith in the 1997 Berserk.
18年間、オール・フォー・ワンから逃れ、ただひたすらに力を培ってきた。
I'd struggle to impress upon you my love for world building and lore like this, to finally learn more of the quirk and its historical users and all for one back then, it's a true blessing for me.
老衰とはつまり、複数個性を内包した力を所持するだけで命を燃やしていたというわけだ。
This terrible revelation, which aside from giving me serious concern, is also praiseworthy for expanding upon the quirk itself and its downsides, giving a more realistic understanding of using it.
オールマイトは無個性。
Young All Might alert! But mainly the winners for now making episode 1 of season 1 makes so much sense. He didn't just choose Midoriya because of his actions in helping Bakugo. It was also because he ticked the other, much required box. He didn't have a quirk, and thus his lifespan wouldn't be drastically cut short. So damn clever, get out of here! The reveal that One for All is on the verge of becoming extinct due to the rise in humans born with quirks, meaning far fewer to choose from who haven't got a quirk, an amazing addition to the already packed lore surrounding the quirk. Also take one here for the scene as a whole. I touched on it in the last wing, but there's just so much background and info, it's rather insane. All the credit in the world to the mangaka for thinking up this genius.
君はあの子の顔を見て助けを求めているように見えた。そう思ったろ。
助けなんか求めちゃいなかった。あれの目は憎しみしか宿しちゃいなかったさ。
What I loved about this is that it's not some arbitrary thing brought to the story. Midoriya saw him, now he's going to rescue him, and everyone is on board. No, they very much disagree with his emotional assessment from that moment.
All for One はこれまで2回、One for All 強奪に手をかけ失敗している。強い思い。強い感情でOne for Allを上回るしかないさ。
I know I've already heaped praise on this entire scene, but allow me to touch on another matter. When All Might first brought One for All to Midoriya's attention, he back then mentioned how it could be stolen, but only if the wielder allowed for it to happen, making it sound like an emotional thing, just like when he passed it on to Deku. So to see that massively expanded upon here makes me freak out with excitement, because it proves it's all been logically thought about way back from season 1. It's not just a case of making it up as he goes along, it's outstanding, man!
あれが巨悪となり果てたら、もう誰にも止められない。君は殺してでも止めるという覚悟はあるかい？
憎しみのその奥に泣いている子供を感じたんです。
Even better now is Midoriya being able to explain what he really felt from that moment, and it just beautifully circles back around to Season 5's reveal of Tamura's history with his parents and siblings and what happened to him, how much pain he's been carrying with him, and that he's afraid in that moment. This arc has just contained some of the best character writing I've seen in a very long time.
オールマイトと皆さんの培ってきた力が数えきれない人たちの心を支えてきたと思うんです。
So a couple wins here. Firstly, Midoriya proves one more time how he was the right choice as he speaks passionately about using One for All for the purposes of goodness.
もう一つ大きな意味を持つようになったんです。
僕はあの子を助け せたい。
だから君についていくんだ。
Secondly, it got me seeing All Might's kind of mirage in tears hearing his protege's words.
私たちは弟子に恵まれた。
場所が良くないな。すべてを話そう。
God, he's awesome!
父の剣も逃げるヴィランを刺し殺したのも事実です。
A good example of an earlier win when I mentioned main characters gaining serious injuries and scars that'll last for good now, as seen here.
広大な敷地と十分なセキュリティを持つヒーロー科の学校を指定避難所として開いていただく運びとなりました。
Realism is the word of the day, so sorry if I've said it 1,000,000,001 times, but here's 1,000,002. It's realistic that these schools be used for a purpose beyond teaching students. I mean, we've seen the tech, it's nuts!
避難も不安も私だけに向けてほしい。みんなで俺を見ていてくれ。
Endeavor really stepping up in the biggest way, doing everything he can to be the #1 hero, but it's even more than that. It's not a status thing, it's a personal thing now.
All for One、ヴィランが狙ってる。
なんなんだよ。
緑谷ちゃん、
このままだとみんなを巻き込んでしまうから。だから遊泳校から出ていきます。ありがとう。さようなら。
Even more everlasting change brought to the story. They're all now aware of All for One and Midoriya and All Might's link, so he's left. And this continues to be insane. Holy hell, look at him! He looks like a total badass!
あの脱獄が昨日南区に現れた。各自至急対象区域。
人が集まったところにヴィランどもが襲来した時、あんたらどうにかできんのかい。てめえの育った町はてめえで守る。けんだ坊主。俺たちはもうヒーローには頼れねえよ。
I know a lot has been built up about the world changing, but I never thought it'd look like this. Streets just devoid of people and cars and any life at all, as people either move to safer areas or hole up hoping to be left alone.
俺が揺らしちまえば、あんなビル一瞬で破壊しちまうんだぞ。
Also take a win here for finding an avenue by which to include these students introduced in Season 3 back into the story. Some of them were extremely legit characters.
Yo! 遊ぼうぜ!
Deserving win here for already painting the picture expertly, as before now, in 95% of cases, it felt like a villain attack would be quickly stopped. I mean, there were civilians everywhere, police and heroes, but now, as we see the streets are empty, it now becomes a much more serious affair, life or death.
ヒーローを見たら10人はいると思え。そこを増やすまでだよな。
Two wins. Firstly, who almost literally says in one short sentence what I just winned. Secondly, they hand drew his muscles, when most would have likely used CGI. Never thought I'd see such an outstanding contrast on display from the hero saving the civilian to the other way around, just showing the goodness in these people, that they can step up to do the right thing when needed too.
通りでフォース、危機感知が止まらないわけだ。
Oh dear lord, that was sick! That's 2 max wins levels of sick, that was. The attack was badass, but also, would you frickin' stop a second and look at him?
多すぎたかも。
ああ、制御域を超過してる。煙幕出しすぎ。
Not only is he using another prior user's quirk, and pretty effortlessly at that, but he's talking with them on the fly! This is better than I could have ever bloody hoped for!
フォース、危機感知で予測の補強。
It is nothing short of exhilarating watching him using all of the quirks in combat, and they're so varied as well. I'm like smiling ear to ear right now.
俺に同情でもしてんのか？そういうのはよそでやんな。
知っていたなら何か違っていたのかもしれない。
Seems like this was shown in order to let us know that whilst training away from everyone else, he's still the same person with the same emotion and thoughts and values.
One for all, full cowl.
デトロイトスマッシュ
Step right on up and get your 2 max wins for a no-nonsense, extremely good-looking, animation-wise and style-wise smash attack. I mean, come on, get out of here with that! Take another while we're at it for continuing Midoriya's Season 1 efforts of learning about his enemy as shown here. I felt that was at risk of being forgotten, but nope, consistent.
ジョーちゃん、貸せ。一人で運ぶのは大変だろう。車取ってこい。
Bless these people's hearts for being kind in this moment and understanding better how the heroes are still fighting for them. Cool, mate. That landing though, right?
アメリカから取り寄せてくれた圧縮サポートアイテムミッドガントレットすごい性能です
Such a clever way to introduce things from the movies in the main series. Gives those excellent films so much more validity when done this way. Not opportunistic win cliché.
同じ怪我でも体は同じじゃなかったということでしょう。
A brilliant and logical explanation of his body's increasing ability to withstand One For All's power by how Midoriya has been using it with other quirks, and in general getting stronger.
助けて私が来たありがとね
だから行くよ大丈夫必ず帰ってくる
Oh, that's such a lovely moment between those two, I must say. Yep.
ならば私も君が嫌だと言おうとも。
You, sir, get a win for being who you are as well. Bless your damn heart!
はい。我々は適度な距離を保ち。
携帯の持ち方かっこよ。
どうするにせよ。ヴィラン連合に落とし前つけてこい。
I love the homage to not only All Might, but now also Gran Torino, his teacher, and the man who has done so much for him.
これ以上犠牲者を出さないために
Absolutely friggin' this moment! Take a win for the whole scene, not just Midoriya's entrance and reasoning showing his growth as a person and as a hero, but also the other side of this equation of civilians going after anyone they find suspicious.
きっとみんなも怖いんだと思います
He's so awesome!
これ持ってきな。とんかつ入ってるから元気出るぞ。
ありがとうございます
I loved their dynamic since the early days, but it's so much greater now than ever before. They're like a proper team now. He's like his father. It's a legit beautiful thing.
まるで時代が逆行しているかのようさ。ヴィランたちに目をつけられないよう息を潜めるだけの日々。
Rotating shot like it's no big deal whatsoever. But also finally for the first time learning what life was like before All Might, and although there was some small amount of law and order, it was definitely a dark, scary, troubled time. In fact, it's probably worse now than then. Also, I don't think I mentioned it during the first half or Season 5, but a piece from Ranking of Kings, King from One Punch Man, and Beldia the Headless Dude from Season 1 of Konosuba.
俺たちは最も苛烈な時代を生きた。オール・フォー・ワンの肉体的前世、ひたすらに支配を広げていた時代。
You Ishigami from Love is War!
お前の兄を撃つためにいくつもの命を踏み台にしてきた。
Jotaro from JoJo!
あの日、僕に手を差し伸べた。君がこの部屋から連れ出してくれなければ何も始まらなかったんだよ。あの時君が手を差し伸べてくれたからワン・フォー・オールは始まったんだ。
Seeing even more from the past, how heroes were fighting as essentially soldiers against evil, performing raids whilst trying to take the fight to the all-powerful enemy. As said before, I love this more than I can express. So much that! Yes!
部隊は整ったさ。
鬼結集させ全解放する。いいか小僧、ここからは加速していくぞ。
はい。
This show is taking me to dangerous levels of hype. Take 2 max wins for that. I'm so ready to go.
建築用とは思えぬ度を超えた過剰性能。デトネラットめ、こんなものをばらまいて。オークス、ベストジーニストまで。
I'm gonna go out on a wild limb here and say this. It wouldn't surprise me if some of the inspiration for this part of the story came from RoboCop. That's exactly what I'm reminded of seeing this. That Endeavor attack and animation and effects goodness.
お前のせいじゃねえか。その通りだ。だからここにいる。
I adore how All Might's iconic statement has been used in various ways across the series.
もう少し連動をずらして動こう。デクにこれ以上の負担を負わせはしない。
Endeavor just showing off his growth these past few minutes, still striving to take responsibility for everything, keeping calm around aggressive civilians, and giving the utmost thought to how to protect Midoriya and One for All.
奴自身が望んだこととはいえ、我々はデクの持つワン・フォー・オールを餌に。
Spider Deku 2, far from Deku. This whole scene needs a win. There's just too much info though to risk showing a lot, but it nicely details the enemy plans, why All for One is laying low, how hatred comes into play in using Tomura to take back One for All. It's very interesting stuff, especially the latter. A tremendous way of immediately raising the tension of the scene. What the hell? Take an emergency plot twist win!
おとなしく従えば手足は残してやる。
Yet another unique stando! Just putting this out there, Midoriya has now become what I dreamt he would be way back in episode 1. It's been a long, hard journey, but he's reaching the end, and it's straight up wonderful to see him like this.
間違いない。公安直属ヒーロー。レディーナガン。
遠距離個性はみんな奴の右手に嫉妬してるぜ。
Having a former hero turned villain in the mix is a great idea here, plus as stated before, mega kawaii alert in it!
2発も防がれたのは初めてだ。
親父。
しばらくここにいな。とっとと歩きな。また収監されたいのかい？
10% of the win is for my boy dodging these bullets, no one else has been able to, but the other 90% is for her maybe looking after Overhaul, which feels like a non-exposition method of telling us about her.
これはほんの手付け金さ。
個性、エアウォーク。
Not only was that animation looking smooth and stylish, but the notion that he's out there issuing out quirks to people again is both exciting and terrifying. Also though, she's Vivi from the incredible Vivi Flora Ice song, Anya from Spy Family, and Emporio from JoJo's Stone Ocean, all of which are covered by the by. Yes, I'm a very busy beaver.
この車じゃなきゃバラバラだぞ。見てみろ、あの細い体を。オールマイトなんてもうとっくに死んでんだ。
This moment legit has me on edge more than ever, because it's exactly what I feared might one day happen in this story. Now that he's so much weaker, I can't take it.
あの子に何かあった時が私の死だ。
Near got me in tears that moment, seeing him still evoke such feelings of panic from villains, even in that state, shows the powerhouse he was to all growing up in this world for so many years, and his devotion to Midoriya is just a thing of pure goodness.
ワン・フォー・オールよりも高速の移動手段がない以上、彼女がポイント移動するより僕がたどり着く方が早い。
Seriously impressive mixture of hand animation with CGI, moving him through and within the scene like this must have taken a huge amount of effort.
全開。
構成か。あいつも複数持ち。
The only thing that could have ever made battles more intense in My Hero Academia is the multi-quirk factor, and it has not disappointed one iota since being factored in back in Season 3.
Hey, 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 9代目。前に言ったのもう忘れた。
Simon from Gurren Lagann.
あ、それ、もしかして危ないよ。
推奨しない。
これが終わればまた一つ増やしていく。
俺の個性はまだ試していない。
サード発見。祝せ。
Oh, it's so good! He's using yet another quirk, one that he's been somewhat using all along, if it's a little like full cowling, I guess. And he's talking to them, and she's firing at him. It's bloody amazing! Extreme levels of legitness!
勝ったとでも言うわけねえだろ。
なんでオール・フォー・ワンにつくんですか。
Some shows do a terrible job of dealing with audio from a distance. Anime is normally very good compared to video games, but this one was most excellent, as it's not as simple as just turning down his audio.
社会の基盤を揺るがしかねない人間たちはみんな法に裁かれることなく罪ごと消えた。
自警だ。ビジランテが英雄視され、ヒーローとしての信頼を獲得し。
On the surface, this is good for detailing why she did what she did, giving some reason there. It gives background on her and the past actions taken by government, but more than that, it's yet even more lore, and they get pretty gnarly in what they show, in terms of how they oppressed villains before they became villains. This anime isn't known for its amazing city scenery shots, but this one is win-worthy.
誰もが空想し憧れた超人社会は薄く脆い虚像。
キラキラ輝く星だけを見せられ、また誰かが真実に蝕まれる。
I'll be real, probably the single best piece of lore added this season, because it not only plays into Stain's now rather legit message from season 2, but also gives the villains an almost worthy reason to carry out their plans. Not obviously All For One, I think he couldn't care less about this, but everyone else, yes.
白と黒だけじゃない。世界のほとんどはグレーで不安や怒りが渦巻いてる。
Midoriya will be the peace of this world, and for this reason, because he's willing to listen and learn and do good and do right by others. He's not a black and white kind of person, and I love every second of it.
そこを仕留める。
My boy is full of surprises. Check out those moves in animation.
100%!
He caught up to the friggin' bullet, bruh!
結果処理が追いつかず動きが止まってしまった。宣告のことでそれを知り。
What makes this even better is the notion that whilst he's using them and deciding when, they're actively helping him like this, which is just crazy.
残している。
記事 100%!
That's 2 max wins all day long, bruh. The animation was smooth as butter mixed with a beautiful continuous motion shot before the attack, and it just smacked of the final attack in the third movie.
あなたが本当にオール・フォー・ワンに組みしたのなら、そもそも衝撃で僕の腰を打ち抜いて終わりだった。僕らと一緒に戦ってください。あなたの心はまだヒーローのままです。
お前は本物。
だからちゃんと契約不履行の場合にも備えておいたよ。
And then you go and get yourself another 2 max wins. Midoriya staying true to himself, convincing a former hero, now former villain, to join their side, showing her goodness again in a hero, only to have it end with tragedy. One of the best episodes of the second half, easily.
死んじゃダメです、先輩。起きて。放り投げるにはまだ時期尚早だったって。あなたはヒーロー、レディー・ナガンだろ。
Just when I say goodbye to her in my heart, this happens and he saved her and called her senpai and I'm losing it again. A straight up lovely end to her character, one that saw her go through a well thought out redemption arc, ending in her revealing All For One's near future plans and understanding how heroes can go on smiling.
All Might.
All Might being a friggin' legend as always. Whew. Unexpectedly intense and badass ending right there. Gave me the chills. Take my win. Another scene that's hugely long and I can't show too much, but I can't think of anything worse than All For One stating that he's concentrating on me. It shows the incredible pressure All Might was under all of those years and yet still managed to keep on smiling in order to keep peace.
する間もなく奔走し続け、帰ってくるのは八つ当たりと会議の声。どうやら俺はヒーローじゃなく人間だったみてえだ。
Might sound weird, but because I knew this guy from the very first episode, then he was in season 2 protecting the school during the event, it feels very weird to me to see him like this and quitting. It hurts, oddly enough. He just seems sad and tired and looking physically much older and of course, alone. This view of the city just showing the utter devastation caused by the villains in recent months.
ワン・フォー・オールのことは先にやりそうだけど。
そうなれば全てを動員しデクを隔離するつもりだった。
A valid point raised here to cover over any potential plot hole regarding why All for One doesn't simply reveal to the press and public about Midoriya.
緑谷君第二の刺客と接触即勝利
This
ご飯食べてないだろ
ついてこなくて
このまま行けばあなたはヴィランと対峙し言い表せようもないほど凄惨な死を迎える
私を巻き込むまいとする心君はもう私を振り返らないだろう
Honestly, with that music and the face on All Might, his emotional movements, it really hit me in the chest. He's trying his best to support Deku, and he in turn wants to keep All Might safe. It's just hard to watch, really.
待ちなさい私は知ってる君にしか背負えないものその大きさ
Feels very much like when Midoriya first reached out to All Might as he was leaving and started their journey together.
頑張れだ休んでいい君に言ってあげなきゃ
Such great voice acting from him. He's incredible. You can hear his voice breaking.
少年
Oh man, didn't like seeing that. Frail and falling to the floor. Once powerful and able to glide through the air. Now like this, and then food spilling out he worked hard to prepare. Totally broke me. At first my heart felt like it skipped a beat, but then I think it's Stain and that oddly relaxed me. I felt as though if he was safe around any villain, it'd be him. Well played.
傷だらけの上に血と泥でとてもヒーローには見えないんだって
My god, that animation is stunning looking and so smooth. The frames are immense. Too much to show again, but definitely a win for a scene showing Midoriya starting to walk a darker path, rejecting All Might's help, Endeavor's advice, the former Eight's assistance. He wants to complete a goal he feels will bring peace to everyone, but he's kind of losing himself in the process.
知ってます大丈夫僕が解きますから
クソゲ
エピーショット
いたぞてめえら
Oh my god, I never thought I'd be so happy to see Bakugo all of a sudden! And it even says friend, meaning Midoriya in this moment most needs a friend. Oh man, made me so happy that they can have 2 max wins. It made me so happy that all of his classmates think so highly of him, want to help him and protect him. In the end, the letter was a great method by which to include all of them into this part of the story.
デクのこと分かってねえんだデクはイカれてんだよ頭
It's a truly beautiful thing to see this side to Bakugo, even gently moving past Shoto instead of his normal shoving style meant something to me. He genuinely cares and it shows, and I've waited years for this!
我々 A 組は彼についていき彼と行動します友人が茨の道を歩んでいると知りながら明日を笑うことなどできません
ヒーローアカデミア
君たちの手で連れ戻してあげておくれ
Basically, this episode has seen me tear up multiple times, and that's pretty rare, but it's the epic choice of music all the time, very emotional stuff, and then hearing the words. This is the Hero Academy, and he's under our protection, so go get him and bring him back. It just means a lot, as well as their words as a class.
離れて
そいつはよかったさすがワン・フォー・オール継承者様だぜ
どいてよみんな
You know what? It feels like for the first time ever, Bakugo is exactly the person Midoriya needs to see right here and now. Insanely great ending to a fantastic episode. As I said, this is what he needs right now. Bakugo and everyone else are the people to bring him back to reality. So much hype, and as a side note, so happy to see such a high score for the season as a whole. Warms my heart.
やめろ逃げろ一度決めたら止まらない人だってよく知ってるんだ
Stroke of genius to refer back to Ida's same moment from season 2. He can relate pretty well here.
戻ってきて大丈夫だって トビートゴール。
Good to see those other students getting some time in the limelight here, as mentioned back in episode 13.
どうでもいいことなんだけどさ、文化祭の時に要点のまとめ方を教えてくれたのかなり助かったんだよね。
すごい勝手なこと言うけどさ、俺の分も頑張ってくれな。
聞いてくれ。お前は特別な力持ってっけど気持ちは俺らも同じだ。
先生趣味とか違えけどお前は友達だ。だから無理くりにでもやらせてもらう。
アークシャドウの攻撃力防御に利用する。それはお前のアイデアだったっけな。
季節だから怖い時は震えて辛い時には涙を流す。
All of these events, which in the past were good but felt like just the story ticking over, some small amount of looking into each character, now appears to be valid, as though the purpose all along was to have him truly become closer to them all, to impact their lives and the other way around, so that this incredible moment could happen. On top of being such an important scene, it also serves to show the power of Midoriya now. The fact that he was able to break free from 3 different kinds of restraints at the same time. I have no words.
大丈夫だから。
その責任俺たちにも分けてくれよ。
Todoroki's new move!
俺たちも一緒に戦わせろ。ひどいよ緑谷。
Absolute top-notch voice acting from one of the best in the field today.
浦中君。
Honest to God, my heart pumps so hard in this moment. That gorgeous animation as the ice breaks and they run after him. It's a thing of pure beauty to my eyes as that music kicks in.
落ちたぜダークシャドウ。亡霊熱波。爆速ターボキュラスター。いった俺はいつだって君に挑戦するんだ。
余計なお世話ってのはヒーローの本質なんだろ。
Easily one of the top 5 moments, not just in this season, but in the entire show, and right up there across the board of all anime I've seen. For me, this was on the level of Tanjiro and his sister fighting in the forest. The big moment you all know and love from season 1. To see everyone together fighting to achieve one goal, to reach Midoriya, hold his hand and get their feelings across to him. Then you mix in the music, the animation from start to finish, and just the feeling they brought across to us the viewer, and it's the easiest Max 2 wins of the season. That catch though!
一緒にいよう。またみんなで授業を受けよう。
もう今まで通りじゃいられないんだ。
One more time, have a win for their collective words as a class to him and his voice acting performance this episode.
否定することで優位に立とうとしてたんだ。俺はずっと負けてた。
Take one more for Bakugo speaking from the heart for the first time ever really, with no mask to cover his absolute true feelings.
ってどうにかなるもんじゃねえけど本音だイズク。
My word! Hearing him use his actual name as well. Wow!
今までごめん。
The apology means far, far more to me than I ever thought possible. Done in such an honest way. So powerful, it's truly something to behold. That's Max wins again, I don't even care. That got me again, man. Easily Max wins.
理想を超えるためにお前も雄英の避難民も町の人も漏れなく助けて勝つんだ。
Might sound like overkill, but that moment too deserves Max wins. It's honestly difficult to describe the raw feelings bubbling inside me after hearing him speak like this for the first time to him. It's something else.
13号、起きました。
よかった。
Oh wow, that's who was inside!
脱ヒーロー派も疲弊して避難所に入る人も増えてる。過激派は多くが徒党化している分、動きは追いやすい。
I know, realism, still the word of the video. So the idea that even this notion, the hold-up groups of anti-heroes have given up and started going to shelters, is such a wonderful addition. It just shouts reality, that the horrors of the streets and gangs and havoc-causing villains is too much for even them any longer.
その少年を遊泳に入れるな。
安全は保証されるって。
保証しろ。
ヒーローが辛い時、誰がヒーローを守ってあげられるだろう。
The episode ends in a huge way, the civilians attempting to reject Midoriya, his friends standing fast by him, and this notion cropping up again. Who protects the heroes, essentially?
今この瞬間ヴィランの侵略が始まろうと避難民及び生徒が毒牙にかかることはなく侵入を許すこともない。
I'm so glad this was addressed because from the early episodes the school has been shown to harbour extremely high tech of all kinds. So knowing that there's a reason for this in the lore is next level, especially when you consider quite how high techy tech the school is now.
リサカ危ないですって。なあ怖いんだよ。戦うなら。
Oh, it suddenly felt so good to see all of these faces from the past. Got me borderline emotional right away. What the heck is going on? Why is my face leaking?
けれど、憶測が不安を呼び、すべてを拭い去ることはできなかった。
Clever to bring this aspect of real life into the mix, how people can take advantage of panic like this. I'm sure some of it is CGI, but a lot of it is hand-drawn. Well done to the animators for putting in the effort.
それでヒーローのつもりなのか。それでヒーローのつもりなのか。
This kind of crowd mentality is terrifying, people just following the loudest voice around them merely because they're emotional in the moment. To put myself in Deku's shoes is scary right here.
彼の力は特別でオール・フォー・ワンに打ち勝つための力です。どんな姿が見えていますか。見てくれませんか。特別な力はあっても特別な人なんていません。
These soulful words direct from the heart, belted out with feeling and emotion, brought me to tears with ease. His poor mother, overcome with sadness, seeing her beaten son being dejected and ragged, the people's eyes slowly being opened to what is still just a young man, bare bones and exhausted from endlessly fighting for them. It was one of the best moments I've seen, and again, 2 wins.
俺たちまで泥にまみれろってか。
泥にまみれるのはヒーローだけです。泥を払う。いとまをください。
Such an inspiring statement and sentiment. On top of appreciating everything, I felt like this was him seeing what he loved in her in that moment once again.
ヒーローが辛い時、ヒーローたちが辛い時、ヒーローを守るのはきっと。
ありがとな。
だから力を貸してください。
Such a simple thing but so consequential at the same time, describing in one of the most magnificent ways possible via this flashback the importance of the hero-civilian circle of life.
どうか彼が隣で休んで備えることを許してくれませんか。ここを彼のヒーローアカデミアでいさせてください。
It would be ridiculous to give this moment a single win. I'm guessing that for a great many of you, just like me, you'll remember this moment for a very long time to come. Oh man, it's the guy from the very first episode who told him to do his best in becoming a hero.
あれ絶対あれがいい。赤がいい。
これは僕が最高のヒーローになるまでの物語。
Bloody brilliant.
来たよ。だからもう泣かないで。大丈夫だよ。
To witness this little guy who hated Deku, hated all heroes now be like this, it's a testament to Midoriya's past, present and future.
ヒステリックに糾弾する前に話ぐらい聞いてもいいんじゃねえのか。だが舞台は取っ払われちまった。失敗を重ねて金も名誉も望めねえ。 今戦ってる連中まで排斥していって俺たちに何が残る？
This guy effortlessly encapsulates everything the heroes are going through right now and puts it into such simple but poetic words.
お前がここで休んだら俺たち元の暮らしに戻るのかよ。
みんなが一緒にいてくれるから全部取り戻します。
Feels like another addition to All Might's iconic statement from the past, but now he's including the importance of his friends in getting the country back to how it used to be.
オールマイトが緑谷君に繋いだ。緑谷君を A 組が繋いだ。グラビティがみんなと緑谷君を繋いだ。そしてみんながもしも全員が少しだけみんなのことを思えたならきっとそこはヒーローが暇を持て余す笑っちまうくらい明るい未来です。
And now, just as in win number 566, Hawks puts it even better and lays out the All Might plan for a new generation of connecting civilians and heroes together, and does so in an equally poetic fashion.
親父、一緒にだ。
Hearing him call him dad and pledge to be in their fight together not only filled me with hype, but also with pride.
もしあのまま白雲くんの意志を取り戻してなければどこも砦にはなりえなかった。
雄英は砦。ここからがリベンジです。
This thought never even crossed my mind, but it's spot on. It's an amazing example of prior storyline planning that his arrest was carried out and they were able to go through to the former student within him. As with him no longer being in the picture, they now cannot immediately transport within these fortresses and they're now secure. End of episode, kind of plot twist of anxiety because I'm really not sure if that interaction would turn violent or not.
もはや弟子の足を引っ張るだけだ。
それは英雄への冒涜か。取り消せ、愚人。
Okay, you brought Stain back into the story, you created an amazingly tense scene that was gonna get a win regardless, so that's a double wins, baby!
お前はオールマイトじゃない。
信じられないのも無理ないさ。
Even seeing him in this form for less than a second gets him a win, one of the all-time greatest anime characters in my eyes.
無力でも動かずにはいられなかった。世界を良くしたかった。
Even this feels like a reference to Midoriya running in the first season's ED, maybe?
ちょうどいい。見ろ。
またかけてある。いい加減こりろっての。
I always knew in my heart that there was something special about Stain. Right from the start, he wasn't your typical villain in any way. Likely why he resonated with fans. So to see him hold All Might and show him this, it means something.
オールマイトが最後に救った女だ。
オールマイト、お願い、助けて。
Just to put it out there, this season has been a blessing in my life to see characters and events from so long ago being brought back into focus in the present in order to solidify ideals, complete character growth, forward the narrative with their words and actions. It's something beyond anything I ever thought possible.
生ある限り醜くもがいてでもくべ続けなければならない。
What I love about this is that it's not fancy sounding words with no meaning to them. Everything he says makes sense in his own way. He's telling All Might that his life lights the fire that had guided and continues to guide the next generation to goodness, towards the heroes of tomorrow. And that flame must be kept alive through strife and struggle. This episode and the last has contained outstanding levels of writing ability.
ヒーロー40名殺傷犯である。このステインを終わらせに来い。正しき社会のために。
As painful as it is as well, he lives by the sword, he's willing to die by it and for his ideals, and that's what makes him truly unique.
大概のことはお風呂入ればなんとかなるんだ。
Can't tell you how happy I am to get a bit of much needed comedy after all of that recent business.
てめえも含めてな。で、水け。
Bakugo still thankfully being Bakugo, but now with a much changed outlook.
みんなありがとう。そして迷惑かけてごめん。
Totally fills my heart with warmth to once again see them all together like this.
何のために連れ戻したんだよ。
お前登場、そのポーズって素でやってんの？
Trust him to make me laugh.
そこにいた
So incredibly unexpected.
ステインよ、血を張ってでも私も戦うぞ。少年たちに灯る火の行く先を見届けるために。この身にできることなど限られているが、それでも
The prospect of him taking part in the final fight is both exciting and, hear me now, incredibly distressing. I'm just saying that right now. I know I've got till the next season till I've got to panic, but still.
ありがとう。この少年たちに追いついてみせる。
For the final time of this video and this season, he gets another win for being who he is. He's so important to me, you have no idea.
みんなに安心してほしくて、笑ってほしくてさ、あの時みたいに最大限の力でやれることやろう。うちらできたじゃんね。
This song never fails to get to me. For me, it'll always be the track of All Might handing a bottle of water to Midoriya after a run, but it works here with her sentiment too.
さらに向こうへ
Go beyond!
ここが落ちるようであれば、外はもう
Won't show it, but Stain taking out the trash that was attempting to get outside during the prison break.
安心しろ。お前の信念は正しいものに届く。正しいように組みするだけのけだものだ。だから俺が唯一信用できる人間に託す。
There's no hint at trying to turn him into something he's not at this late stage in the game, which is to be commended. He is who he is. That person is unique as far as villains go. So much so that he's not really one in many ways, and yet is in others. This anime spits on the idea of not expanding the lore for even a brief few episodes. No, it says it must be expanded. We do it for the wins.
器としての信楽はあと3日ほどで完成する。
Oh my god! Talk about ending the episode and season with dangerous levels of hype. Too much hype is after all bad for your health. It's not, but it sounds funny to say.
今回は異常だ。まるで示し合わせたかのように各国の内政が荒らされている。
オール・フォー・ワンは各国に黒いパイプを有しているという。
Getting our first proper understanding of the world outside Japan in this anime, and to learn that they're all pretty much going through something similar, but not quite to this extreme, is crazy to think about.
我が国のビッグレッドドットも同じく、友を助けるのになぜ手続きがいるのだと。
うちの我慢できずに。
行くことは決定しているんだ。早いか遅いかだけさ。マスターが困ってる。
Just when I thought I couldn't literally get more excited for the next season, we're getting the world's best heroes involved for the 7th season, bruh! Zawaldo! I can't even take it. She looks awesome. We're getting the best heroes from other countries arriving for the showdown. This might be one of the greatest seasons ever coming up.
君だ。
デク君、おはよう。
Bless her heart, even though she was likely a bit scared in that moment, she wanted to reassure him right away. And then the rest of the class also does the same thing. Bless them all! Even though we knew it was coming, hype! Take a final win for one of the best seasons of any anime I've seen, and definitely the best season of My Hero Academia for me. It legit tops the charts of all 6. I mean, for me, it's 6, 3, 1, 4, 2, and 5. Let me know your rankings below, and don't get it twisted, I loved 5. I felt it got insane amounts of hate for no reason, but still, it's last in my ranking. Thanks so much for watching, and if you're still watching, my Patreon is down below, and seriously, it'd mean a lot if you took a look at it. Could genuinely use the help, and it all goes to supporting my family and goes back into the channel to buy new equipment and so on. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the 7th season or in whatever video you choose to watch next. Creator follower, Lefty, Corey Bush, Inakamiya Water, Manuel Morales, Marquez, Nick Windle, Wallkeeper, The Ever Commander, Adalisk, Bird Without a Word, Brendan Creer, Christopher Willis, Emmanuel Gonzalez, Gaten 2000, Jessica Starks, Kepman, Comfroik, Kylie W, Magnus, Nathan Blur, Satai Kuyori, Sean, Sebastian Ramirez, Wigan Faye, Ali 50, Baked Patats 3827, Dark Lord Blaze Soul, Dub Defender Matt Mello, Guru, Israel Caldera, Yor Edvinson, Jonas Stahl, Jaffa 6263, Kieran Robinson, Kelnock, Kevin Nelto, Gonito, Laxus, Luis Cruz, Matthew Blansett, Nicholas C, 1928, Oliver Smiley Reacts, Peter Milligan, Saint Flo 25, Sentimento, Storm 970, The Elementator Wars.